Alright, we are now live. Hello everyone and welcome to today's live stream where I'll be going over this little mountain erosion setup that I made this week. It's a very interesting effect in the way that it's not how you would expect. There are no simulations happening in this. So let's do an overview of it. So with this project, it was started by me going through Google Earth VR, which is an amazing experience if you haven't done that. Going around the mountainscapes and all that, seeing that in real scale, it's absolutely fascinating. I would highly recommend it. Well, while I was in that, I was like, okay, so that's how mountain erosion and stuff looks. So how would I make that in geometry nodes in Blender? So I was thinking about it, I was like, simulations, but that's complicated. I haven't really done that properly yet, and it would probably be very slow with the high density geometry that we're seeing here. But then the thought hit me. Instead of eroding a pre-existing mountain, like you would expect, just take a mountain and then take away from it, why not build it using a pre-built-in node, the shortest edge paths node? And I did that, and turns out, as you can see from the setup, it is very, very simple. Like, this is the entire erosion setup, and then this part is just normalizing the cost. So I guess we could, I'll go and remake this entire thing live just to show you how it's done. I do plan on putting this up on Gumroad, probably when the stream ends, so that people can download it for free, take a look at it, and all that cool stuff. But I just want to showcase it to see if there are any issues I should address, or if people have questions, and so on. So let's go and make this live and see how it goes. So let's go and make a new geometry node, just like that, click new, all the cool stuff. And then we're going to use the shortest edge paths node. And then we need an end vertex and an edge cost. So the end vertex is where the mountain will, the base of the mountain. So in this case, it's the edges of this plane, but we could make it something else. Like if I switch this to be the center vertex group, do I have... I just named it group. That's always fun. If we change this to be the center vertex, we can see that starts from the center and goes out. Because again, it works in reverse. We're building the mountain rather than taking away from it. I may try variations of it to see if there are better ways of doing that, but that's what I found. So in this case, with this, yeah, we'll just select these... Now, let's have a different... Maybe the center vertex group. Yeah, that should be... Yeah, we'll just do that. Okay, so we'll use that one group right here and put it in there. And then we'll take a look at this, and we'll see that with the total cost, it's just white. So we need to go and actually put an edge cost so that this cost will accumulate as the shortest edge paths go out from the center. So in this case, I'm just going to have a value node and set it to 1. Now, should I show the... Yeah, let's do the attribute text. Oh, this is gonna hurt. Yeah. As we can see, because this is such a high density grid, it's lagging a lot. But we can see that the value is going up by 1 every time it goes away from the center. So, what we need to do is add in some noise to this so that it has some variation, and then we need to normalize this value so that it will affect the height map. Let's go and do that. Also, just in terms of the stream, is the music too loud and all that? I'm using Minecraft music this time because the Zelda music got copyright striked, which was very, very fun. I'm going to store a named attribute and label this cost so that afterwards we can go and normalize it, which I think maybe we should do that now, just so that we can see the values a bit better. Okay, let's set this up so that this will affect the position with a normalized cost value. So named attribute, we'll put this here, and then we'll use a map range because we want to map the range from the cost. So we'll use an attribute statistic, we'll put this into here, and we will use the min and the max and put this right there. Fairly simple setup, and then we will use a combine XYZ node to plug this into the offset. So with these few nodes, the wires are crossing a little bit, which is always fun, That's just a thing that happens with nodes. But with just this, we can see that the points... Oh, there are more than one point selected. That's why I didn't name it center. from the center, the value is being accumulated until it stacks up to there. Let's just do 1 point instead. I'm going to deselect all this and just select 1 center point. There we go. We can see that a little bit better. If we select another point and assign it, we can see that that happens there. But we'll just do this for now. So now that we have this, let's go and add in some noise so that the shortest path has a little bit of variation. So in this case, we'll use a noise texture. We can set it to 2 dimensions just so that it's a slight bit faster. I need to lower the music on my side because it's a little bit loud. But it seems to be okay on the regular audio levels. Okay, and we want to turn off normalize so that it'll offset in the positive and negative direct values, positive and negative. So if we do this and add, or multiply and then add it to the 1 value right there, we should see that some variation starts to happen. Again, this is a very simple setup, and as we can already see, we're getting some of that erosion, just with a quick and simple setup. And we actually don't need this value node, but it could help with some, I don't know, visualizations later on. So here we can see with the noise value, if we increase it, we get more of a noise pattern. You know, it influences it more, and all that works pretty well. But what we want to do next is turn up the detail. In this case, I think 12. 12 is usually fine. Usually above that, it just starts to, well, at least in the shader editor, lag a little bit when you're using 3 dimensions and multiple noise textures and all that fun stuff. 12 is usually the best detail to cost ratio from what I've experienced. So we have that, and then we want to turn up the roughness a bit, just to get some more interesting patterns. Like, look at that. That is looking very, very cool. I forget what this reminds me of. It reminds me of some type of rock or metal that I've seen in real life or in a game. I forget which. Maybe obsidian? Maybe not. But as we can see, it is now affecting it pretty well. If we set this to 1, we can see that the mountains look quite a bit better, which is looking good. So now let's go and edit the start points. So let's go and select just a part here, you know, just like a river path, and assign that. And as we can see, the parts start there and then move up. But you may be seeing that there's a little bit of a problem here. These just start off and don't have a kind of ease as they go out. It's just, they go up at a linear trajectory, if that makes sense. So how do we edit that? Well, that part is very simple, just 1 node. Use a power node. And if we plug this into here, we'll go and see that this makes it even worse. That's because we want it to be a power of 2. And as we can see here, that's a very, very dramatic difference. Like, look how much of a difference that is. It now looks like, and again, this is not a simulation of erosion, it is just the shortest path node, which is very nice because it's all done in 1 step, it's fast. Even though I would like to try to make my own shortest path algorithm, so that I could tweak it and customize it a lot, this is pretty good for how simple it is. Like, it's been less than 10 minutes with all my yapping, and it's still done. Maybe I'll go and make a proper tutorial for this, because it feels like, well, I haven't done a tutorial in a very long time, and this seems like the perfect candidate. But we'll see. Again, this project file will probably be on Gumroad at the end of the stream if I don't find any errors, so keep an eye out for that. So with the power node in place, we can see that the erosion effect looks very cool, and we can vary how much this affects everything. Let's see. Yeah, that looks so cool. So let's go and turn this up even more. No, that does not look good. Let's set this to 1.25. Yeah, that's looking very nice. And you can change the scale of the noise to see what's going on. Like here, since it's normalized, you know, the height does jump a little bit. And also, by the way, if you do not normalize the cost, it just goes up a lot. Which maybe there's probably a way of making like these values adjust due to the amount of vertices in the plane, because the amount of vertices affect the cost and all that fun stuff. Actually, let's do a little bit of testing. So there's the edge vertices. And we can get the distance between the two, because the shortest edge paths work on the edge domain. So let's go and get that and divide this by the distance. Or, wait, multiply. Yes, multiply, because divide would make that a lot larger. So if we take that part out, huh, that's not bad. So if we do that, okay, maybe this is why I do these live streams. This may be a much better way of normalizing it than the alternative, but then again, or wait, is it? No, it's not normal. Interesting, very, very interesting. We do that, it does go up, and then that goes down. We don't seem to be able to do a negative cost. It just gets clamped, which is interesting. There we go. We do that. We multiply it by the distance, but that means if this is bigger... Oh, okay. That might be a better way of doing all this, so that you can... The actual density of the mesh will not affect anything. What happens if I were to decimate the grid? Dang it, I pressed that twice. Decimate. Let's go and try that out. So let's have just a... Oh wait, since this is a hex grid, it'll be pretty even. But I just want to add in a little bit of variation to see what happens. Oh, and if you're wondering why I have this specific type of hexagon grid, that is because I wanted all the edges to be equidistant, which may be solved by using the edge vertices, but I'm still not 100% sure. Basically, whatever grid you have will lead to some artifacting. Like in this case, if we look at the top here, there are straight lines like to appear, simply because they align with the grid, and that's the easiest path for all of them to take. But in this case, this is a square grid that was randomly triangulated, which can give some cool looking, and kind of messier looking results. Let me turn off triangulation, and you can start to see the artifacting quite a bit, which maybe you want. Like, I've seen rocks that look like this. Oh, and by the way, this version has a spline be the destination path, like a river basin or something like that. But yes, it could be any kind of grid. In this case, it's a hex tri-grid, where it's a triangle grid, but kind of, you know, hex end shape, I guess. Okay. So maybe the edge vertice distance is a good idea compared to the normalization, because that very much felt like a band-aid. Like you just go, oh, just throw a normalization pass on it and call it a day. But oh, wait a second, that's why I was afraid of. If it's not normal, oh wait, never mind, I hooked up the wrong node. I'm worried about what happens if this does exceed 1. Because with the power node, things can get very crazy very, very fast, as we can see there. Well, with the normalized pass... Oh wait, let's go and hook this up into there. It's similar, but not quite. Interesting. Taking the edge distance into account will make it like real scale no matter how scaled up or down it is, which probably helps with the resolution scaling. But maybe it doesn't really affect... It would probably give a similar result, since this is a regular grid where the edge distances don't really matter, because they're all equidistant. Let's see. Well, I spent a few hours making a simulation-based erosion system, and this looks just as good and much easier to use. It's not accurate because we're doing stuff in reverse. Because it's not, you don't take a mountain and then erode off of it, which leads to some art direction issues where it's like, oh, I want a mountain of this shape. Well, how do you make that work? It's procedurally generated. But it it does have some benefits compared to a simulated system. Mainly, you can interact with it a lot easier. Like, this is a dense grid. CPU-wise, like on the GPU, you could probably get away with a lot more. Actually, are there shortest path algorithms that work on the GPU? I don't know. That is an interesting... I need to look that up. Yeah. But with this project, it was... I'm still not entirely sure how the idea came to me, because it was... I was like, how do I make an erosion system? And then it's like, wait a second, raindrops take the shortest path. But the shortest path doesn't really work like that unless you accumulate this stuff over time, but then that builds instead of subtracts. Is the music still going? Oh, it just had a little lull. Yeah, it's... I'm very surprised that it took me this long to figure out that this was possible, because again, simple node setup. I just never thought of it before. I haven't looked this up, so maybe someone else came up with the idea before me. But yeah, there are some issues with scalability, because this is rather slow if I were to subdivide this grid one more time. But maybe it would be just as slow as a simulation-based method per step, maybe. Let's see. Can you create an emitter of solids so that the power can be applied to them? An emitter of solids. I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. Also, hello to everyone in the chat. Apologies, I've been very focused on this project because it's interesting. I haven't quite made anything like this before. Because I don't know, the shortest path node, I was just like, oh, it can make like vein-like paths, but I never thought about using it for mountainscapes. And also I need to try it with more textures like Voronoi. I want to try it with cells. Actually, I forget, are the cell parts normalized by default, even if normalization is off? It appears so, so I would have to subtract 0.5 for a better result. Yes, okay. Keep forgetting about that. Let's do that. Interesting pattern, very interesting. And let's go and set that up to 8 times the... that kind of just looks like the noise. But we are seeing that it's exceeding 1. Yeah. So, this is why I'm testing this. Is the normalization pass better than just taking the edge distance? There we go. Because with this, you just don't have to worry about if it's too high. Interesting, interesting. Let's set that to be 2. Let's set the power to be 1 so that we can see the semi-raw output. I do like that look. It looks very, almost like low poly but high poly at the same time. Let's do a square root. That's interesting, but I'm not entirely sure why I would use that for. Like the square root path. Roughness, let's set that to be like 0.8. Music is getting a little bit loud again. I think I'll lower it a little bit because it's probably a bit loud on the stream. There we go. Now this one looks good. But I'm a little worried that it's just looking like regular noise, which Voronoi is more expensive to calculate. But, yeah, no, that's fine. Let's try distance. I may have to invert that. Let's go and take a look. Wow, that is doing basically nothing. Wait, really? Why is it being that ineffective? Oh, the roughness in the detail. That explains it. There we go. That's a bit better. So let's go and delete the viewer once again. I should mention that I'm using Blender 4.1 just because I want this to be accessible to people who haven't jumped to 4.2 just yet. Let's see. So with more detail looks like that, but it doesn't look as good as regular noise. It seems like, yeah, maybe I'll try some other noise options off stream, or texture options on. Oh, actually, wait, that's interesting. That looks different to the zero detail noise. The randomness off. I do want to try making sand dunes with this. But I do need to research how sand dunes look. Because I haven't looked at them in Google Earth yet, which I really should do. They probably look amazing. Let's see. Any other textures that I should take a look at? Brick, checker, gradient image, magic. Yeah, let's try magic just for fun. Subtract 0.5, plug this into there. This is the part that I like about GeoNodes and all this. You can just experiment and see what works and what doesn't. It's fun. There we go. Let's set that to be 2, or maybe turn the depth down. Okay, yeah, about as good as I was expecting. Checker, let's take a look at that. And set this down to be a little bit less. Interesting. About as good as I could have expected. Yeah. Okay, let's go back to noise, because that was the best. Let's see. Alright, I think that's everything for that part. So what else could we do? Any suggestions in chat? Because I am open to suggestions. Oh yeah, let me turn up the roughness on that. Because the more roughness, it usually looks better. But there is a point where it just turns into, yeah, noise like that. Like 0.85 is the furthest I would push it. Yeah, look at that. Also, you can shade smooth, but that, like, it makes it look less detailed, but then again, at this point, you would probably just go with textures after the fact. Which, speaking of textures, let me go to the shader editor. In this setup that I will probably be putting up on Gumroad, I have an angle output, which let's take a look at that part. That part is a just the normalized or unnormalized signed angle, which I just have some options for that, which is why the node setup looks a bit more complicated. So let's take a look at it. Let's boot up, oh wait, that's the Workbench engine. Like the curvature in Workbench looks amazing. What about Gaber noise? I'm in Blender 4.1, so that does not exist. Actually, wait. Yeah, no, it doesn't exist in this version. But here's the edge angle, or pointiness, if you're using cycles. And that looks pretty good. Like, if you look up here, you can see the shortest edge path patterns, and it looks like veins and stuff like that, as it should. Yeah. I kind of like this almost flower pattern that you get at the center. Oh, wait, I should... That's why I should have done. Okay. Let's go over here to the new version. What I want to do is randomize. I want to use the distance, but randomize the vertex positions by a bit so that we no longer have a regular grid. So let's see how that affects that. So let's get a random value, set it to be a vector, and let's set it so that it's 0 on the z and -1 on the x and y. Scale, plug it into there. This will be atrocious, but bear with me. 0.01. Intriguing. Terrible, but intriguing. Let's do that and set it to 0.5. Nope, terrible. Okay, that's about as good as I Oh no, the parts are overlapping. I want them to not overlap. So let's do this to be 1.25. Okay, we're getting some variation. Let's go and mute and unmute. Okay, okay. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a completely regular triangle grid for it to look good. Well, let me go and disable the edge distance. Let's do this and mute and unmute and see how that affects stuff. Okay, that seems pretty normal. I want to see if this stabilizes everything, so that has... No, it seems to be the same. Okay, then if we scale this up... Okay. Wait, is edge cost? Yeah, that is on. So let me turn that off, and then also scale this up. I want to see what's more stable. Okay, yeah, that seems to be good enough. I'm not sure if I'll keep this, though. It seems a little bit unnecessary. Even when this is enabled, I still want to normalize it after the fact so that the power will be guaranteed to work the way I want it to. Let's plug that into there. Because again, when the cost goes up too high, then we set this to be a power of 2. It can skyrocket a bit more than I would like. I think that's one of the like art direction parts in this case, where maybe it's not mathematically accurate, but looks a bit better. And also, this is what it looks like inverted. So let's set this to -1. -1, come on. It is a little bit laggy due to the amount of vertices that we're pushing. Ooh, that's cool. Yeah, it's not inverted, but yeah, let's set that to be 1-. So this looks a little bit not cloud-like. I've seen rock formations like this, but they're a little bit rare. Interesting. Let's throw a power after that and see how that looks. Just some experimentation. That's why I enjoy. Ooh, that's interesting. But then when it goes below 1, it likes to freak out a little bit. Let's set this to be 2. Oh. How about that? Interesting. Let's set the shading to be flat. I like, even though it's not good, like not proper, I like seeing the extra crunchiness in the detail. I really need to try more stuff with all this. So, let's try remove. Now let's just select a big area in the center and see how that looks. Ooh, that looks cool. Now it is glitching here because, actually wait, why is it glitching there? Ah, because of you. Let's go and remove that to keep it simple. Not entirely sure why it's freaking out, because the part that is selected shouldn't be activated. Oh, maybe that's float point errors, potentially. That's very, very interesting. Let's use a color ramp to go back to the stable method. So here we'll just map the gradient. Because it's normalized, we can do this. There we go. Let's take a look. Oh, that looks cool. Still not sure what's happening there, but I'll need to look into that. Very, very interesting. And let's go and edit this. Okay. Hey, can I ask you a question? Have you ever used or learned Houdini before? Yes, mostly for professional work, occasionally. Like, geometry nodes is my main, just because it's convenient. But yes, I have used Houdini. It's extremely powerful, but it has a learning curve to it, where since I already have quite a couple years in geometry nodes, I just find it more convenient. So I do use it, but not enough to use it on the daily. I've not been paid to fully use it and learn it yet. But I would recommend it if you're looking for professional, if you're looking to get into like professional VFX and stuff, because it is used quite often there. Hi, is this shortest path, is this a shortest edge path method for erosion? Yes, it is. And it feels a little bit weird saying erosion because it's more hacky than that. It looks like erosion, but in reality, it's not. It's just finding the shortest path and then building a mountain out of it. Have you used Embergen? I used one of the first pre-alpha builds of Embergen, because it was very, very cool. And it still is very, very cool. Unfortunately, I have not been, in the course of my work, I've not been paid to use Embergen on the daily, just because I don't deal with many smoke, fire, water simulations, but I would highly recommend it. Let's see. Okay, I've been spinning the camera around for a bit too long. I need to do some new stuff with this. We take the edge angle and all that. Yeah, that's just fine. I have wanted to test stacking up the edge costs with a simulation and see how that works. Because one behavior with erosion that I haven't been able to replicate is the kind of curved erosion where it looks like the erosion has created a new path, like a river and stuff like that. Oh, I forget what they're called, but the rivers that snake, and they snake more and more over time. In my brain, my brain says, okay, that should be possible if you just accumulate the cost over time and keep feeding it back into each other. But the slight issue with that is that the cost is always positive and doesn't go into the negative. Maybe I could just multiply by -1 and make that work, but I am not sure. And also for testing that, I want to use a lower poly grid, because this one, you know, it's nice, but that's a lot of polygons for Blender to handle. Like, look at that, that's a lot. Well, if we go down one subdivision level, it is much easier for a computer to handle. I do need to get a better computer with more cores, because geometry nodes is, depending on the node, it's multi-threaded, but it helps with dealing with stuff like this. It should. I have not tested it. Okay, let's set it to be that one, and oh, there's no group. So let me create a new group and assign. There we go, that's looking interesting. So let's go and take the cost, and this part will remain unaffected. The music likes to tune out, so I think I'll just go back to the tried and true Zelda music. There we go, let's put that back, set it to a good level. Let's go and put this into a nice frame. At the cost, yeah, that's nice. I think I'll keep the distance for now. I'll keep that for now. So if we want a simulation, how would we go and make a sim for this simulation? Oh wait, did I... Here, let's copy that so that I'm not running two sims at the same time. I do not want it to lag. I want it to be real time. Go, let's put that there and there. Put this down over there. Okay, so if we do this, we'll see that nothing happens, because nothing is feeding into itself. That is definitely... It's close to real time, but not quite. Or, it's half real time. Let's see. So we have the group as the end vertex, and then the cost we can factor into this part. So if we set the cost to... here. I want to start off with a cost... So, come on. Control-C, our copying in frames is very... It only works half the time, which is very interesting. So if we take that, actually, then I would have to add to this. And then we won't need that. Okay, I just want to see how this will work, and then maybe I need to multiply this by the distance. Yes, that might be a good idea. So let's try that. We multiply this so that if the size of the grid changes, the final effect won't. And we add it to there so that that part is the same as this. So I'm hoping it'll properly compensate. And then we take the cost and add that into there, and we'll see what happens. I have a feeling that this won't work first try. Like, there's a 99% chance it won't. But I want to try it anyway, because it will be fun to see the glitches. So if we do this, okay. That is interesting. That is not quite what I wanted. Let's do this. Okay, maybe multiplying that was a very, very bad idea. Oh, okay. Interesting. We can see that that is doing something cool. But do I subtract? We add the cost into there, but no, we don't want to do that because it stacks. Well, I want this to be compensated for in here. Okay, let's up. I was afraid of that. There we go. Is that... Dang it. Interesting. Let's try to make the noise evolve over time. Because the feedback seems to be partly working, but I want to try it a bit more. Well, let's just do a multiply so that affects all the axes. There we go. Very, very interesting. Seems to be averaging out, which is... can't say I want that. It's not feeding back, it's just averaging. Because... Oh, no, what am I talking about? I needed the cost in there. Well, that screws up the part where... There's the edge cost, but then it keeps stacking on top of itself again and again and again, which can lead to many, many issues. I don't know what to do for that part. It's feeding back into itself, but that makes the noise get diluted more and more and more and more. Because here we can see that when it starts off, it seems to be okay. But then that happens. I guess I could just mix these two to see how that works. Like, I don't know what I'm doing at this point. Oh, we have 40 people watching right now. That's fun. Thank you for watching my little experiments. Let's go and just take a look at this. That's just the default. There's nothing else there. Frame 1, it's like, oh, that looks pretty normal, and then it does that, and then it just gets refined until it's turned into nothing. Yeah, I've tried this a couple of times, but I'm just not sure if it can work the way I want it to. Because at this point, I'm trying to make a regular erosion sim, but using this as my kind of erosion solver and then just making it iterate over itself multiple times. Because the problem, if I haven't articulated it properly, is that this starts off with a flat plane and then creates a mountain. So after that, when it has a mountain, how do you go and make it so that it creates a mountain on top of a mountain properly? That is difficult to properly do. Which is why the cost is put into there. Actually, wait, would normalizing it help? So that no matter how big it is, that might actually be a good idea. Just put the normalization step inside of it. So that the output here, and maybe the power as well, we'll go and try that out. We'll go and make this reroute, put it over there. That seems like a good idea. The named attribute node is my favorite node. It helps clean up node trees so much. It's the best. And it's becoming better in Blender 4.3, so keep an eye out for that. Easier to use, nice quality of life changes. That seems to be correct in my eyes. And maybe we'll start out the cost with just a value. Because, yeah. Okay, let's go and try this out. Interesting, very interesting. So now it's no longer skyrocketing. Let's take a look at that. Okay, that just looks like the output, nothing special there. Let's set it to be 0.9. It is lagging a bit, so I apologize if the stream is having lots of trouble with that. At this point, it seems to be getting... Maybe I need to multiply the cost by the distance? Maybe that'll help? That does not seem to be helping. Let's set that to be 0.99. Oh wait, the noise is way too powerful. That's why I was freaking out. So here we can see... Is it feeding back into the loop? Are we seeing different patterns, or is it just averaging? It looks like it's just averaging and then turning into just the distance. So let's set this to be half and half. Just plug that into there and see what happens. Dang it. Okay, maybe I should not spend any more time on this test. Like, that's looking cool, but I'm not sure if that's just... Yeah, no, it's not feeding... I'll need to look into how to make it properly feed back into itself. How do you build a mountain on top of a mountain and it not go crazy? It's multiplying by that. Maybe we don't add the edge distance. So with that, it just looks like that. So if we mix the two, do the feedback. Well, that's just blurring the previous ones, which isn't great. But the cost is being used in there, it's just not being used enough. But then when that happens, let's redo the sim. Yeah, okay. I think that's enough testing on this front. I'm hoping from just playing around with it, eventually something cool will happen. Yeah, the normalization doesn't seem to be working. Okay, that fun test, but yeah. Let's leave the simulations for people who know how to make those simulations. Well, for now, this is pretty cool. Oh, that reminds me of something I completely forgot to showcase. Dang, okay. So, with mountains, at least the ones I've seen on Google Earth, VR, which I would highly recommend. You know, I mentioned that before, but I'll mention it again. That's a very cool experience, just seeing mountains at their real scale and seeing how big erosion is in real life. I would highly recommend doing that if you have a VR headset. In those mountains, there are quite often lakes, either from glaciers, snow, or just regular geologic movements. So how would you make little lakes or mountains or little flat areas in this setup? Well, the way to do that would be to say that certain areas have a cost of 0. So if a part comes up to here, it will no longer start adding and just make an area like that. So let's go and make a normalized noise texture. Actually, let's keep it on normalized just to stick with the theme. Set this to be regular like that. And we will go and mix between the regular cost setup and 0. So with that connection, again, this is the erosion setup. Let me go and just take that part out. There we go. If we go over here and take a look, we'll see that. Oh, wait. I put that in the wrong place. That is supposed to be... Or did I? No, I did not. It was in the right place. It's just too effective. There we go. Now we're seeing the lakes. Where at certain points, it just stops adding to this and creates a nice little lake area. Where the height level for that is not just 0. Like where we start off, that will always be 0. But as we go up, we can see the little plateaus here and there where a lake forms. Which, as we can see, it looks pretty plausible. Like, it is still a little bit, you know, sharp with that part, which we can add in some easing. But the lakes will never overspill because, again, we're building a mountain. So it builds, and then nothing gets built here, and then over here it can start building again, so it does start building again. So that looks very, very cool. And you can store that noise pattern as a named attribute, so that it can affect the shading later on. I don't think this part will be in the Gumroad version of this setup. Once it's out on Gumroad for free, I plan on putting it up for free. Just because it's still a little experimental. But as we can see, just little pockets of water and stuff like that, which is very, very cool. Let's map range. Let's make it a little bit softer. So smoother step, let's set that to be 0.1. Range. As we can see here, we can see that it's easing up a little bit, which is nice to have a bit of blending like that. There we go. So let's talk about scalability. I combined those two words into one. This setup is not great for large tiles. Like if you have a large setup with lots of vertices, it's not great because the shortest edge paths all will try to find that point, which gets more and more expensive the further out you go. But it would be okay if you had like multiple areas that had like assignments. Like if you, instead of just having one part that's assigned as the basin, if you had one part here, one part there, all these points won't have to like look over here, they'll just find the shortest path. Yeah, there's that. The lakes are looking good, but they need a bit more noise, which is very good for art direction. So here, you can just add more noise if you want to. Make it look as natural as you want. You could keep adding the noise until it looks really, really, really bad. As we can see right here, it's still looking good. Let me go and store that as a named attribute, as I had it before. Let's call this lakes. So we'll have that, and that'll just be our mix factor for the lakes, so that in the shader we can have the same thing. Again, the store named attribute node is so nice. You just store it, and you can access it in here wherever you want, and in the shader automatically. My favorite node. It has come in handy so many, many times. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the lake named attribute with the viewer node. There we go. You can see that pattern. Oh, I forgot about that. With Blender's noise, in the center, the different layers of noise scale from 0. This changed in one of the versions, and the fix for it is very easy, but I'm still ever so slightly annoyed when that happens. So if you want to stop that artifacting at the center, just add like, I don't know, 10,000, and then boom, artifacting is gone. Which reminds me, I should do that in this setup as well. Just a little tip, if you ever think that the noise texture is looking a little bit weird, that's because at 0, 0, the different layers scale from there, so it'll just look a little bit weird. Again, you can see the pattern repeating and getting bigger and bigger, or you can see a pattern. But yeah, there we go. So you can see the lakes, and let's go and look at it after all the other steps have happened. Wait a minute. Oh, that's because I connected it into the wrong thing. But here, as we can see, let me go and lower the roughness part of it. There we can see that it's matching up with the little lakes, which I should show this in the shader editor because we need to see the actual surface of the object. So let's put in, instead of angle, the lakes. Take a look at that and plug that into the base color so that we can see the rest of the mountain shape. That's looking pretty cool. I have metallic set to 1, so let's go and turn that off. Yeah, there we go. And now you can make that blue and the mountains the regular colors. Yeah, that That's pretty, and this could be like lava or something else. So yeah, let's go and play around with that a little bit. Let's mix the colors. Let's see, 49 minutes. Okay. Yeah, let's go for an hour on the stream. This is just a little, oh, not little, but it's me going over the setup and seeing if I'm missing anything, or if I should add any other features to it when it's up on Gumroad. See, let's make a nice dark-ish blue, then make the mountains, you know, kind of gray. Well, yeah, that's fine. I do want to try the magma look, which could be cool. See, chat is going rather fast. I will read that when my brain allows me to, which may be a little bit. So little lava pits, that could be cool. And let's go into here and turn up the detail of the lakes so that we can make them look even cooler. That doesn't look that great. Looked better in my head. Oh, maybe this would be a job for Voronoi. That sounds like a good idea. If I inverted it. Let's go and set that to be -1. -1, you good, buddy? Change that down. There we go. But now they're super equidistant. But we can see it is working. You know, the nice little pockets are working as intended. Maybe turning up the detail will look better. So let's set that to be like that. And then, oh wait, why did I set that to -2? I will blame that on lag and not elaborate. Okay, yeah, Voronoi, not the best. Let's stick with noise. There we go, and let's bring that down once again. There we go. And you can see how much the lakes affect. Oh, dang it. I will blame that on lag once again. Wait, am I working on the... Oh, this is the high poly one, of course. Probably should have tested this on the one subdivision down version. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I have tried baking out... Oh yeah, I should showcase that as well. I have baked out one of the textures. Let me toggle. Which one is it? Toggle window full screen. Yes, I forgot. Wow, I forgot where that was for a quick second, even though I did it less than an hour ago. Here we go. Let's bring that into here. Toggle window full screen again. I baked out one of the erosion textures, an earlier one, into a nice 2K map so that you can use it for, you know, whatever you want. It didn't look as good as I was hoping for because, of course, it won't, you know, it doesn't take the heights into account or anything like that. But it could look cool. Let's set this to be non-color. There we go. And here we can see the height map, the pointiness map or the edge angle, and the ambient occlusion. So let's take a look at these when they're put into stuff like a bump map. Let's try that out. Height, let's go and plug that in, put it over there. As we can see, that's looking fairly good. Here we go. And then maybe the AO would help. Oh wait, I was plugging in the AO. There we go. So here is the height. That's looking a lot better. So if you wanted to make like a glacier or something like that, well, glaciers are a little more soft than that. They are a bit more wavy. Oh, distortion. I need to try that out. Let's plug in the pointiness to the colors. Yeah, we can see that that's working. It does look a little bit ugly, because I did this on a square grid instead of a triangle grid, which leaves these nice little divots there. I should redo this with a nice dense triangle grid. And then AO, you can just plug that into there, and that makes things look decent. So something looks wrong with that. Does that go above 1? Greater than? Greater than? No, it does not. Okay, it's just a little bit weird. Right, that's not an EXR. Whoopsie. Yes. So if I change the color and make it darker, we can see that this can look very good for certain rock formations. And just, you know, be sure to normalize all the outputs in the compositor, because of course I rendered this out in Blender and edit it inside Blender. It is somewhat tileable. That part I actually did in Krita, but it did not work completely. I could, oh wait, UV, constrain to image bounds, let's set that to be like 3, and let's take a look at that. So if we scale this up, oh wait, scaled up by 3, so that matches. We can see that it's mostly seamless, but, well, you can see some of the seams. So what I'm thinking about, oh wow, that does not look good. That's not good at all. I wonder what caused that. Compression? I will need to look into that. Yeah, still needs some work, but this could be very good for textures, like lava rock and stuff like that. Okay. Let me read the chat now. Does 4.3 drop support for legacy add-ons entirely? No. Legacy add-ons should be supported by 4.3. Though I think legacy add-ons will be here to stay. I don't think they're dropping support for those anytime soon. Because that would be that would hurt Blender a lot more than it would help, in my opinion. I would have to look that up. Why 4.1 today? Because 4.1, for the time being, is my favorite Blender version, and it's the most... I have had unfortunate experiences with Blender 4.2 in terms of stability, so I like using 4.1 as my main daily just because it is very nice, very stable. EV Legacy is very nice and stable and has less noise, so I do prefer it, and the main reason for all this is that when I put this up on Gumroad, people who have like a year-old version of Blender, which I believe 4.1 is half a year old, maybe a bit older than that, they can still use it, because not everyone is using the newest version of Blender, which is 4.2, and quite a few people have not upgraded to 4.2 due to a couple of issues, which, unfortunately, I've been in that camp for a bit. There have been incremental updates to 4.2, which probably have fixed most of them, but for the time being, I'm waiting until 4.3, because that one... 4.3 is looking very good. I will probably switch to that for my main daily Blender. 4.3 is looking amazing, so I would recommend that when it comes out. Okay. Let me read the other parts of the chat so that I'm not missing anything. Let's see. You are performing science, and it's an important part of the process. I think that's overhyping it just a little bit. I am just a guy playing around with a toy. That's how I kind of see it. At least when I'm not working. I just see it as like, ooh, there's a new update to my toy. Let me go and play around with it. And it's fun. Like, I wouldn't be streaming this if it wasn't fun. Like, YouTube does not pay enough for that. Let's see. It also creates little areas that would be good for waterfalls. That's the thing. How would I do something like waterfalls in something like this? I'm not sure I can. Because with the shortest edge path node, it finds it... I actually need to look up I think it's using the A-star algorithm, which I should try making my own version, which means that I would be able to customize it. And maybe I could make more improvements to this so that it can feed back into itself. Or not improvements, but, you know, customizations to it. But for the time being, this is the fastest option. And, you know, least complicated one, so I do enjoy that. Let's see. I had an idea where the shortest edge paths could cut grooves into existing noise-based height maps. That would be very cool. That would probably help in this situation, possibly. Let's go and delete that part and just take a look at you. Like, unfortunately, I am not an environment artist. Like, I make a couple environments when I need them. But I am not... experienced in the ways of terrain generation. So there's probably a lot of things I can do to improve this. And also with the shading, like I need to get the right hues for grass and stuff like... Actually, oh wait, I haven't even thought about this. Let's go and get the geometry normal. And dot product of that. Or I could just use a separate XYZ. But I like dot products. Okay, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, let's separate XYZ. Just because that's easier to deal with. And then, color ramp, yeah, why not? If we do this, we can see all the parts that are angled up. Shade smooth. Something about that feels a little bit off, but I'm not going to worry about that. So here we can make it so that the steep parts don't have, like, snow or something like that. Because if I do something like this, yes, that's looking pretty cool. And you can add in some noise to that, but that looks like a snowy mountain. Let's go and take a look at that. Let's do that, plug that into there, and boom, snowy mountain. Then at the bottom, we can mix the snow and the snowy mountain with something that's a little, like, off hue. Come on, buddy. Then boom, that is very nice. I should have this as one of the examples. Because here, as we can see, if you make it subtle enough, it'll look right. And then let's use the position for the noise. I could use the UV map, but position is just better. Put that into a nice bump map, and that's good. Okay, I forgot how... Yeah. Another reason why I prefer using 4.1 is that the compilation times in EV Legacy are... It feels like twice as fast, but I would have to go and check that out. The devs are working on making that better, which I believe probably for 4.3 it'll be good. But just to explain why, I'm still using an older version of Blender. Sometimes it has its perks. Let's see, if we do this, no, that doesn't, I should have a different noise texture for that part. Whenever you plug in a noise texture into a bump node, it calculates it 3 times, so it would be like having 3 noise textures. So it's always good to use this part sparingly, if you're using Eevee. If you're using Cycles, you can just do basically whatever you want, and Cycles will just deal with it, for the most part. Let's set that to be, maybe 20 is fine, and then turn this down by a bit. I just want some subtle noise, so that looks more detailed than it is. And then we can go, let me normalize that again. 1, 2, 3, okay. We can do that, and it'll need some work. Like, maybe I could layer the previous erosion map I made. Because if I were to subdivide this again, it would look better and better the more you do that. Yeah. And I can't take the pointiness map. Let me go and delete all those. The angle. So here, oh wait, I need to... Oh wait, I did not store that. That is moderately annoying. I am just going to copy that from over here and call it a day. Wait, where's, there we go. So here, it's just a normalized edge angle node. Let me just go and copy that. Please tell me that the frame copied over. Yes, thank goodness. Wait, why did I label that? Oh, I forgot to replace that name. That is why I do these live streams. So that... Oh, wait, did I do the curvature in that before or after the... Okay, good. After. Good. I did that correctly. Just connect that into there. There we go. So now that we have this, those angles are looking very straight. I should probably edit that a little bit. But we can use that to influence part of the, maybe the normal? Maybe that can help make it look a little bit better. Let's try that. Let's subtract that by 0.5 to denormalize. Well, not denormalize. To make it so that it's offsetting in the positive and negative direction. Denormal, yeah, yeah. So if we do that, we can see that, yes, that is helping. Actually, if we set that to 0, what does that look like? It's there, so if we do that, we can see, oh, the lag is helping me, at least a little bit. If we do that, we can see that the snow is piling up just a little bit in the crevices. That looks a little too organized, but not the worst. And if we do that, the snow accumulates on the ridges, which maybe you don't want. Let me go and turn down the noise texture a bit. I want it to look like noise, but not like sludgy noise. Because I feel like that's giving... Oh, wait, that helps. Now looks like powdery snow. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. Still a low... Maybe the roughness is too high. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty good. That part is still annoying me slightly. Well, it looks better. That looks a bit better. Yeah, that makes more sense. So now we can go and play around with that part, and it should look pretty good. Let's go and organize the nodes a bit. Make it look a bit better. Oh, come on, buddy. Work with me here. Work with me. There we go. Let's go and put that into a nice little frame. Move it over there. Oh, that should be fine. Recently, I played a nice little node organization game. I think it was for a game jam. And it was very funny organizing nodes in a game environment because I'm so used to doing that professionally. There we go. So we can use the color ramp. Oh wait, I did not ease that. I should probably use a map range value on there. Interesting, and we can go and turn that part down. Whatever looks better. In my opinion, this looks pretty good. We can go and turn this up a bit. But what if that... What if these were like Grand Canyon mountains? That would be cool. I think black looks the best for now. It's a nice contrast. We still have... Oh, I should make it so that where the lakes are, there is no bump. That would help a lot. That would help a lot. Let's change that to be a float, so that's more efficient. In terms of new Blender news, there's some cool stuff happening. There's the NPR branch, which I tried a little bit yesterday, and it looks like it could be very cool for many effects, non-photorealistic effects. Oof, why does that look so harsh? That looks really, really unfortunate. Wait. It should not look that triangulated. Maybe I just need... Oh, okay, I just needed to raise it up. Okay, that makes sense. But still looks a little too triangulated for my liking. I'll look into that. Maybe the noise height map is just too strong. I could try easing that part out a bit more. Here, let's do that, just so that there's as little bumps as possible. And the glacier water is looking a little bit different to how I remember it, so let me just lean it over a little. Maybe it needs to be metallic. Let's check out what metallic looks like across the board. Not great. Oh, wait. It needs to be reflective. That's why. Okay, let's take the lakes and have another one right here. I'll switch between a high roughness value, maybe of 0.8, and a low roughness value of 0.1. That's looking alright. Still needs some work, but, you know, decent. Let's see, let's bump that up. It still doesn't feel quite right. Well, yeah, that looks a little radioactive. Oh, that's a nice contrast, though. Kinda like that. But let's stick with the normal water. Or ice, in this case. Like, it almost looks good, but not quite. Yeah, procedurally generated mountains, which I do want to edit it because the mountains are still looking a little bit too organized. Let's turn up the roughness. Not that much. 0.8. 0.85. It's looking okay. Do I go one more subdivision down? This may lag out a ton, so, it was nice talking. Oh, that actually wasn't too bad. That was not too bad. I thought that would have been a lot worse. Maybe I should try to subdivide it as many times as I can before Blender crashes. Okay. Can you make them different levels with Voronoi noise? I could try that. I was thinking about using inverse of the height difference between the current and surrounding vertices as a cost, since debris is more likely to fall down the slopest points. Particle-based erosion sim works the same. Yes, that could work. We could scatter trees and plants along the mountain surface and it would start to make a wonderful landscape. Yes, I did do a very half-done attempt at making trees on the mountains using the low poly tree proxies, and it would work if I had better assets to work with. Or if I got better assets from my library. But I did not have time for that. If you couldn't tell, this was made quite quickly. I sometimes get quantized normals in Eevee, but not cycles. Interesting. If you have time, can you make a drone show system that morphs between objects? Well, I most likely will not have time. But it is possible, like, instead of drones, think of it like a particle system. Just make a particle system that morphs between objects and then switch out the models with drones, take the velocity, make it affect the rotation, then boom, you're good. I've done something like that before a long time ago. I'm hoping 4.2 stability will improve, as it is going to be my long-term use while testing out 4.3 as they release. 4.2 on release was a little bit difficult to work with. I have not tried out the new incremental updates. I know they fixed a lot of critical bugs, but I have heard that a few of the bugs or a few of the things with Eevee Next, they won't be able to fix for 4.2, and they will have to push them to 4.3. So I'm waiting for that version to be... I'm waiting for 4.3 just because it'll be 4.2, but with just better. And 4.1 for now is not horribly outdated. Like, we have the repeat zone, we have the, like, panels and node groups. It's a very good compromise between the Blender versions. So I'm happy staying with that for the time being. We need more detail. That's not enough detail right there. We need to go further beyond... Oh, wait. We need to go further beyond with the subdivision levels. Like, right now, Blender is lagging simply because of how many polygons are there. So let's make it twice as, or to the power of 2 times as bad. Actually, I forget how many vertices are added when you subdivide a triangle grid. Alright. Getting the for each loop is promising, yes. That 4.3 has many... Ooh, that's looking okay. But it needs more detail. So maybe I just need to up the... Oh, this is hurting. Let's see. Let's set that to be 16. My power is finally back. I hate hurricanes. Oh, right. Yeah, how was that? I heard that it was not a fun time over there in Florida land. Let's set this to be 0.95 because I feel like we need as much detail as possible. And for some reason, it's not showing up. That might be a bit too much. Yeah, that's making it too spiky. I don't want spiky. I want to see the erosion, but I'm just not getting the sharpness. Maybe I need to put the pointiness into the bump map. Maybe that'll make it look more sharp. That may make it look more sharp. Like that? Yeah, no, that's looking too... 8.5, I think, is the limit for what looks natural from my reference. Unfortunately, I feel like this will lag so badly whenever I try to change it up. But I do want to show at least... Yeah, let's go and put the edges as the parts here. So instead of group, it'll be edges. Please tell me that vertex group saved even though I subdivided it. Come on, buddy. Work with me. Okay. That seems to have worked. Oh, and we can see the lakes are much more effective now. Very, very interesting. What happens if I remove the lakes? I got delivered MREs. Oh, interesting. I live in an area where there's not much geologic or weather-based activity. So I haven't had, well, I guess the main thing that I've had has been, in my area, has been flooding, where it's wiped out quite a few businesses, but that's the extent of weather disasters this year. This year apparently has been very interesting when it comes to weather-based phenomena. Let's set this to be 1. I want to see how that looks. I wonder what's assigned to group 001. So this is taking 6,000 milliseconds to calculate, which in the grand scheme of things isn't too bad if you compare it to like simulating again and again and again and again. Especially with a grid this dense. Like, I wonder how long it would take for a one simulation step on this thing. I'm muting the lakes just for now. Okay. Let's try some distortion, because I haven't tried that out enough yet. Let's do 0.75. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Oh, no, I'm counting fast. Alright. Oh, that looks a little bit glacial. It doesn't... It looks more like noise from the... Oh, actually, it looks okay. Maybe, like, 0.1 less. Maybe 0.1 less. I should wrap up the stream, because this has gone on for longer than I was hoping for. If I have time in the future, I will make a, like, proper condensed tutorial video, because it would probably take, like, 5 minutes. Or, not 5 minutes to make, but 5 minutes to, of recording. It would be a 5-minute video, is what I meant to say. Yeah, the noise just doesn't look quite right. Like, it's affecting it a lot, but it doesn't... Feels like it needs to be more, even though when we actually set it to be more, it doesn't look right. Maybe I should try the languarity. Like that, that's looking decent. Let's set this to be power of 1.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. It's okay, but it seems to be too effective. Let's set that to be 0.4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looking a bit better. Let's take a look at that. That is looking decent. I feel like the pointiness is making the shader look not as good. I need to sneeze. 1 second, everyone. Okay, sneeze has concluded. We're getting some nice detail on there, probably because it's mixing with the noise. But it doesn't look as good as I was hoping. Still looks good, but not, you know, not good enough. Maybe the noise scale is just wrong. I'll go and play around with that. But for the time being, this is looking very, very nice. Ooh, You can see the main shortest paths right there due to the pointiness. Like, look at that. That's very nice. Okay, let me try putting the... Let's make a new shader so that I can just try the edge angle into the bump. Because I want to see how... Oops. How that looks. Does that help? Oh, that does... Possibly does not. If we do that... It looks like it almost helps. Like, it helps a little bit. But it looks like it's turning off the smooth shading rather than, yeah. The detail is too refined. Maybe, helping just a little bit. Let me plug that into the base color. Now that looks beautiful. Like, look at that. All of the detail. I do want to subdivide it one more time to get like the micro details. I think at that point I just want to make my computer explode. That is looking very, very nice. So nice, in fact, I want to change the appearance one more time to be the... Let's try group 001. Let's see. My PC is dying looking at the vertex count. Yeah, well, okay, let's hide everything else. Oh, everything else basically did not matter. This is a 3 million vertice grid, which is just a little over like 10, actually, wait, let me check that out once again. 1080 times 1920, how much is that? That is 2, okay, so it's 1 million above a 1080p image. Yeah, the bump map is not doing what I kind of want it to, because the interpolation is linear rather than, like, cubic. Cubic would help. Make it 10 million? Well, that would probably... I'll do that for the last thing of the stream. Like, look at this. Like, that is just... That's a mountain right there. Let me go and turn this up to be 0.6, because I want it to be even more mountainous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Done. There we go. Like, look at this. This is why I like procedural stuff. You apply the rules of nature. You can make a song out of that. And, it looks very, very cool. Like, look at this part. Like, even though, like, this part is not actually a glacial carving, it's just distorted noise, it looks really, really good. I'm very, very happy with that. Okay, thank you all for watching. I think I'll call the stream here. I will go and subdivide this one more time as the final send-off. But thank you all for watching. This is a very fun project. This will be up on the original version with a few improvements. Will be up on Gumroad for free. Maybe check an hour or two after the stream ends. And I hope this will help you make some cool mountains. Because that will be very, very cool. Okay, let's subdivide it one last time. Okay, let's go into edit. It's lagging when going into edit mode. This is so fun. So fun. There we go. Okay, it successfully went into edit mode after 6 or so seconds. Let's subdivide. If you can still hear me, then my PC has not died yet. Okay, oh yeah, normal could be used as the shortest path cost. I need to look into that. Yes, oh, that probably would help. Because I've been just using the previous height map. The normal. Yeah, that could potentially help. Or maybe the pointiness, because that gets the angle. I'll need to think about that. Okay, it's still subdividing. I do not know if Blender is alive or dead. I do not. But if you can hear me, then that's a good sign. Let's keep waiting. This is partly why I like, you know, stuff that works on the GPU, because, you know, it handles 4K images like a breeze. Like, you forget just how many pixels are in a 4K image. And, like, GPUs handle that stuff like a champ. Split the effects to get differences between wind erosion and water erosion potential. It's subdivided. 12 million and a half vertices. I'm going outside of edit mode. Blender does have issues handling just lots of polygons by default. Which, if I were doing this properly, I would probably, you know, just use Houdini. Because it's... Houdini's good at handling large amounts of data. It's built for that. $12 million is a bit more than 4K. Let's see. 4096. 4K, at least a 4K texture is 16 million. So it's a little bit less than a 4K by 4K. Ah, dang it! I clicked. You never click when it's lagging out. Okay. Don't close the Blender file because it will take forever to open the file again. If you save it, which this I do not plan on saving. Actually, I'm a tad disappointed in how... Oh, I need to up the detail level. Yeah, no, I need more detail. I'm slightly disappointed with the detail levels I'm seeing, but I think that's just because... Actually, how much is... No, that's 16 detail. Maybe I need even more? Like, maybe a smaller noise on there? Well, let's take a look at just the map here. Look at that. Okay. No, I take that back. Like, look, that's definitely 4K worthy. Like, all the little details. Yeah, I fully take that back. It's a good amount of detail. Beautiful. Is that 2D noise? Yes, in this case, it is being driven by 2D noise, because what Blender sees is a flat hexagonal grid, while the height map is just applied after the fact. It's all of this erosion in quotes, because it's fake erosion. It's all done in one step with the shortest path node. But yes, that is quite cool. Quite cool. I wonder how that would look in Unreal with Nanite. Maybe it could handle it. Just maybe. Okay. That's enough for today. Let me turn on Cavity. Both. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty cool. That's looking pretty nice. Okay, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this little experiment, and I will see you all next time. Have a good one.